What is going on, Fighting Game Select here? We are back again with my man jmcrofts. You know, I had to let him know that's his new alias.
I'm doing good, man. I've been enjoying it. It feels like we have a glut of games right now. You know, we got all the games coming out. We got games like Granblue and beta and everything. So there's a lot to play. I've been enjoying it.
You know, one that is potentially coming out, we don't know when, which is Project L.
It's interesting, isn't it, that like free to play seems to have taken over pretty much every other multiplayer genre except fighting games right now. I'm sure there are some other examples. Yeah, most multiplayer genres these days have moved largely free to play, but fighting games haven't. Huh?
Yeah, well, let's get a round of applause for Granblue versus Riot, because when the game launched, they will have a free to play version. They added rollback, crossplay, Fall Guys, soccer.
They added the ability to die in the lobby.
Yeah, in the lobby, you could literally get on your little kite and like roll up on people, you know, things like that. They added all of those in a free to play like infrastructure, and I think that is pretty damn good. Let's talk about it. Why aren't these companies not doing free to play? You think is it because they're afraid of the practice that they're so used to doing and like how to make money in a free-to-play aspect? What do you think is the biggest thing holding some companies back?
Yeah, I think that's probably it to a degree, that like they have this notion of like, okay, we're gonna make a game, it's gonna cost this much money to make, we're gonna try to sell 1 million copies, $60 a piece, and that's gonna make back our budget, right? So they have this idea of how things have been done, and then this new concept of, okay, we're going to spend the same amount to make the game, except it's going to be free, and we have no guarantee of how many people are going to spend money on the game. So, like, how are we going to, you know, make back our budget? Like, I definitely understand that. I'm sure there's a lot of trepidation there. And I think another issue is that people like you and me, you know, we're pretty serious. We're probably not very single-player oriented when it comes to fighting games, but a lot of people still are. Like, a lot of people are buying Mortal Kombat just to play the single player, or they buy Street Fighter 6, you know, and the World Tour is like a big reason why they buy it. And single player games are very hard to monetize free to play. So I think that's probably another aspect to it, is that they want people to spend $60 to play the single player, which if it's just a free to play game, it's probably not going to have much single player content at all.
If you can like talk with like the directors and the developers, right? How can we find a middle ground where they're adding ways to like get money from us without it being like predatory?
Fighting games, I think more than any other genre, they kind of have this notion where like you're going to have a main, right? Like, yeah. You don't really have, like, in League of Legends, you don't really have a main, right? Like, you might have a few characters that you're best with, but, like, there's bans and stuff, and, like, sometimes you might not get your chosen role. So, usually in League of Legends, you gotta have, like, 10 characters that you play.
Right.
In fighting games, a lot of times people just have their guy, and that's the only character they play. So, it's like, can a game really be successful? Even if they charge for characters, you know, you pay $6 or whatever to get Ryu, and then you never have to do anything else because he's your main forever. So I don't know, it's tough. And there was one fighting game that was free to play that I really liked, which was Fantasy Strike. And Fantasy Strike was awesome because every character was free. They didn't charge anything for characters. The only things that you could spend money on were cosmetics. But I think the game is kind of in like it's in like development limbo right now. I don't think they're adding anything to the game. So maybe, I don't know if that's why, if maybe they had trouble making enough money not charging for any characters. So I don't know, maybe that was too player friendly, I'm not sure. So it's definitely a really hard balance to strike. I think it's a really difficult challenge. I think if anyone can do it, it's going to be Riot. So I'll be really interested to see what kind of decisions they make. But yeah, it's a really hard challenge. You and I, we have maybe some insider info about Project L because we've gotten to play the game, but we don't really know how it's going to be monetized, right?
Yeah.
I don't think, have they said if they're going to charge for characters or not? I don't even think they've said that, right?
They haven't said anything. We don't know anything.
So I feel like a fighting game where you have to buy every character, I think would be kind of a nightmare, right? So is it going to be cosmetics only? But then, like you said, I think it might be hard to monetize a fighting game only through cosmetics because I think a lot of players don't really care. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it will have to be like diehard fans that will like really want something really, really bad. But even then, like, it's a fighting game. So like, they're a fan of the character, but they may not be a fan of fighting games. You
know, we're talking about why don't developers in fighting games experiment with free to play? Maybe part of the answer is just that like the current system works so well because they kind of have their cake and eat it too. Because not only are we're spending $60 on the game, but they're selling us the DLC pass. We're buying that too, and they're still charging money for the costumes. So You know, if the game were free to play and they were charging us for the costumes, like, well, they're charging us for the costumes anyway, plus they get our $60. So maybe it's just better to sell the game. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and the funniest thing too is like the DLCs is already announced before the game even comes out.
Yeah, seriously.
So
we're buying the Ultimate Edition that comes with the pass for $90. So
yeah, so it's not like they like developed this like in like the span of 6 months. Like it was already designed.
And doesn't it suck? Like, you ever buy a game at full price and then you can't find opponents? That's the worst feeling ever.
That's the worst feeling, bro.
And fighting games used to have that a lot. Like, there would be a lot of like anime fighting games or more obscure fighting games, and you would buy it and just not be able to play anyone.
Yeah, you know, like they like DNF 2, for example. Like I played it a lot, and then like I don't know what happened. Like a month after, is it like people just was not feeling it, and I was like. Damn, imagine spending $50 and like, yo, that was it. 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, for example, for me, I think a game that would have been like good free to play is DNF 2.
It's such a commitment to spend full price to buy this game that you're not sure if you're gonna like it. So if it's free to play, yeah, people can see how they like it, and probably a lot of people would have been like, oh, this game's pretty cool, and kept playing.
Duel. The reason why I think that game would be good for me, like as a free to play game, is that like there was only like what 14 characters, 15 characters, if I'm not mistaken. You know, that's like a very small roster. There's not like story mode to do much. A person spending $50 on that it's like really hard to like convince them to buy it, right?
Yeah.
Outside of like it has good netcode, you know. I truly believe that DNF will be more successful if it was free to play.
But here's the question: is how do they monetize it? Because that game doesn't have skins.
That game doesn't have skins.
He's selling the characters. Maybe we could do like League of Legends. Like there's a rotating pool of free characters.
Rotating characters, and I think that bundles of the character colors.
Okay. I don't know if colors is getting the cash out. I'm not sure.
I don't think so either, but I feel like that's the only thing that they have for right now.
I agree that like it would be really good for the game if it were free to play. But yeah, it's definitely a tough problem of how does the game actually make money. I got one I think would be good, which is Soul Calibur 6.
Oh yeah, free.
Because Soul Calibur always has like the best character customization. So it's like, oh,
free.
And then here's my crazy idea, right? So you know how they have like the single player where you create your character and you can go through the single player. Now what they could do is they could have a gacha in the game. For weapons.
Yep.
And you roll to get the and you could use the weapon skin online, but it wouldn't affect your power. But you could have like an ultra rare weapon skin that you can use online. And then the weapons would have stats and stuff that would be used for the offline modes.
Hell yeah, bro. And like Soul Calibur 2 single player content by far is like some of the best that it's been, right?
Oh yeah, the Weapon Master mode? Hell yeah.
Yeah, Weapon Master, you know, like the little maze that you go through and like, you know, play through like in 3. That was really cool.
Bro, and then like, yeah, you have like a slot machine and then, you know, you roll on it with in-game currency that you get from playing online, but you can buy the currency. And then you might get like this really cool hat that you put on your character. Yeah, like, oh, that would be so sick.
That would be godlike.
I'm already getting, and that game had that problem too, kind of similar to Granblue, where the online audience just kind of fell off. It became pretty hard to find matches. So
with that being said, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, jmcroft, for your time coming here.
My pleasure.
Man. Yes, and where can they follow you, bro?
jmcrofts on YouTube. Check me out. Hit the subscribe button.
Get this man 300K right now. When you see this video, make sure you be like, all right, I'm going to give you 300K. Click, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the ding, ding, ding. You know,
honk the horn.
And with that being said, man, thank you so much for having me. And we'll see you guys at the Fighting Game Select next time.
Bye, everybody.